Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Always Online podcast brought to you by mmorpg.com, your home for all things multiplayer related. I got it right this week. This is episode 433, and of course, we're doing the show live, twitch.tv/MMOBomb, 1 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. You could sit in chat like the rest of everybody hanging out with us and get your opinions tossed in to the live show. In fact, we're going to pose a question to chat and to you on YouTube, but unfortunately on YouTube and mmobomb.com, it'll be also answered by the time you are watching this. So, if you're watching on YouTube, head on over to mmobomb.com sometime. There's lots of great articles. Our new writers are just kicking total ass. It's amazing. We've got new videos coming out, one we're going to talk about today. It's a great time. We've got some giveaways coming up, so definitely head on over to mmobomb.com and make sure you review your favorite games while you're there on our game pages and leave a little recommendation or a warning of the other people off if they're terrible games. Go ahead and do that. While you're on YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Obviously, throw your comments down there. We want your weekly bombs. We want your question of the week answers. And if you have just questions for the panel, whoever they happen to be that week, throw them down there too. I always bring them to the show. Joining me today to go over a ton of news, Mr. Wilfredo Rivera. What's up, sir?
Hey. What's going on?
You are going to be in the upper right panel today for the second time ever. Congrats.
Thank you. It's weird because usually either Jason or Troy or Q is here, but I'm here and that's saying something. So yeah, this is it's always awkward when you get this.
I'm getting a little echo of myself in somebody's headset, but maybe we can fix that. Your audio sounds great, so I assume your new equipment came in, your new mic, your new mixer, the new rig. How was it all? I know we exchanged some messages back and forth, setting things up, tweaking things. You sound great.
Yeah, no, this stuff is awesome, and it really helped out, especially for something I was working on. It was definitely needed.
It definitely did. We'll talk about that when we get there, because I'm sure while I couldn't see your face, I was getting MF'd up and down the street by Wilfredo when I was sending some feedback back and forth. But obviously, it leads to a better thing. We'll talk about it when we get there. Also on the line, Mr. Anthony Jones. What's up, sir?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for bringing me back.
Well, you did okay once or twice, so we figured, we'll give him a third shot and see how. No, you're always welcome. You're part of the crew. Part of the crew. We did see your kitty just a little bit ago, so maybe we'll get to see the cat again.
You might see her. She's hanging in her cat tree right now. So
hanging out in the cat tree. Well, we've got a lot of news today. So this was not particularly a big story week. I mean, there were some larger stories like Ravensoft voting to pass their union, and so now they'll have to enter into. They've officially founded the first AAA gaming union in North America, and now they'll have to have fun negotiations, I'm sure, with Activision Blizzard. And hey, by the way, it was so nice of Phil Spencer on that topic to come out and say, hey, we will totally recognize the union after the buyout, which a lot of people giving him credit for. Don't. It's easy to say the right thing when you have to say it. He has to recognize the union,
yeah.
Or don't work with them. That's the only options you have at them. Oh, of course we'll recognize it. Well, yeah, because you have to. Anyway, but we've got a lot of smaller news that is worth talking about. It's not just castaway little mobile game news. And we're going to start with a segment I call Stupid Multiplayer Gaming News of the Week. So let's cue up the news bump and get started. Yes, stupid multiplayer news of the week. And I posed this question to chat before the show in our pre-show. Make sure you stop by early so that we have a lot of fun both pre and post-show that you don't see on YouTube. And I posed this question, and I'll pose it to you, dear viewer. Let's say you have a free-to-play MMORPG, And it's been around for a few years. It's not, 12, 15 years old, but it is a few years. Maybe it's showing signs of its age. It's not a Final Fantasy 14, and it's not a game that is, almost shut down and has one player, a la Babylon's Fall. Let's say that is the situation you're in, and you're kind of losing a bit of your player base. It's been a while. How do you reinvigorate that? How do you climb the hill again and get some players back? How do you do it? What is the best course of action? You can't go free to play. You already did that. And it does look like Twitch booted us, and it is reconnecting. We're fine for the recording, gentlemen, so we'll be all right.
Cool.
Okay.
How do you do it? How do you revitalize your MMORPG? Well, that's actually the situation for a particular game. That is the exact situation for a particular game. Perhaps you've heard of Riders of Icarus. Now, when Riders of Icarus initially came out, I was generally pretty positive about it. Not that it did anything extraordinary, right? Not that it did anything extraordinary. It was a tab target MMO RPG generic fantasy land thing. But they did have that whole mechanic, Wilfredo, of like catching creatures to become mounts, catching creatures to become companions that fought with you. They had that kind of interesting aspect. Now, the downside of that was they monetized the shit out of it, right?
Of course.
They gave you very limited mount spaces and very limited companion spaces without having to go ahead and buy those spaces. Now, that was part of Nexon back in the day, and then recently reverted back to Valve, the company behind the game, and is now self-published. And if you look at Riders of Icarus's Steam charts, there's 100 or so people playing it at any given time. Did either of you play this at all? Wilfredo, did you play Riders of Icarus?
I played it a little bit when it first came out, but it wasn't a game that really caught my interest. It was, your standard fare for any MMO, tab target, high fantasy, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, this is playable. But it wasn't anything that made me go, you know what? I really want to get into that catch-em-all kind of like mindset. It just wasn't for me.
See, I loved that. I loved that part. Anthony, did you get into the game at all?
No, I never did, but I was aware of the game and I knew what the selling point for the game was, the catching mechanic and all that. I thought it was interesting, but it was just something about it that really kind of just threw me off. It was too generic in my perspective. And now with this business model going for this more pay to earn kind of way.
Oh, he spoiled it.
Bit...
He spoiled it. Anthony spoiled it.
I'm getting ahead of myself, but I just had to say it.
That's exactly what they're doing. So Riders of Icarus, Nexon loses the license, doesn't want to renew it. Publishing reverts back to Valve. They've continued for a little while. Obviously, a lower player base. Jason is right. It was playable. That's absolutely a top endorsement. Yes. So we asked chat, how do you reinvigorate? And people said, maybe more content and expansion, and all the answers that you would expect. No, Riders of Icarus is going pay to earn. They're going pay to earn. That's going to include NFTs, blockchain technology, all of that fun stuff that always comes with this. And you wrote up the article, Anthony, and it's kind of dividing its already limited player base.
Yes, it very much is, and the comments has only gotten worse. To be fair, there are some people in the crowd of these comments who are kind of like, the game needed this, but what the game needed was more content and kind of just a better game overall, not a new business model to kind of go with the catch 'em all kind of thing that's going with it. And I just don't think it was the right move. And then Another comment was talking about how Steam. We know that Gabe is very against like crypto games and NFT and stuff like that. And I'm just trying to figure out how is it going to survive on Steam.
Oh, yeah, because we have seen Steam games booted
Yeah.
for implementing NFT or blockchain type technologies in various ways. Like they're not, some of them have been a bit speculative. And so here's the thing, Wilfredo, right? Like to add these, the gaming population at large does not want these. And we've made our voices totally clear on these by seeing failure after failure after failure of these implementations. There is an audience that does want these types of things, and that's the audience that is into blockchain or NFT speculation, or that kind of trying to cash in and pop off monetarily on digital goods. There is an audience for that. I'm not arguing that. Anytime I have ever mentioned cryptocurrency in our YouTube description of a show because we discussed it, go look at the bots that slam the comments that I have to go through and delete them. Like, there is an audience for that. But is it the audience that actually wants to come and play your MMO? No, it isn't.
100% correct on that. Look, here's the thing. I get it. Everybody wants to try to experiment with something new, especially when you lose your licensing through a major publisher. And you're like, all right, we got to find some way to ramp things up. Content is good. Expanding on things can make it better. Working on some issues and bugs that you've had in the past, maybe that could help. But saying, hey, now it's pay to earn. What? Hold on. Wait. Pump the brakes. It's a game. It's a game. And I have to pay to earn in the game. I am playing this game to basically become a second job. Now, that being said, if you're into making sure you have spreadsheets and driving your entire GPU into the ground, cool. You can also play EVE Online. It's an actual game. I mean, yeah,
it's an actual game. He said it's an actual game.
And you'll spend $30,000 on a war, but
the implication being that Riders of Icarus is no longer an actual game.
See, that's the thing. Once you do something like this, you basically put the final nail in the coffin for your game.
Yeah, and we've said this on the show often, and to Cal saying it in chat. If you want to do this, like I've always personally said, the technologies could do neat things in gaming. We will just never see them because there will always be the human element of greed behind the technologies rather than what the technologies could inherently do. But also, to Cal's point, it's build it from the ground up. Like jamming it into existing games has just proven failure after failure after failure.
Yeah, no, it's square peg, round hole. That's what this is. And this is good. Look, Riders of Icarus was already in trouble because it's a very generic, average game. And then shoehorning this in, now you've just taken whatever player base you've gotten and they're just like, all right, now it was okay for a moment, but now I'm probably done. I'm moving on. Mm-hmm. And that's a fair decision because you know what? You gotta think with your wallet from time to time.
Let's continue on with news of the stupid.
Yeah, more stupid.
More stupid. Hey, Anthony, are you a superheroes guy? Do you like Marvel, DC, all that stuff?
Oh man, I love Marvel, but the heroes that I like in Marvel are more of the vigilantes like Daredevil and
you like
Luke
the Marvel
Cage.
Right?
Yeah, so I like in versions. The anti-heroes almost.
Yeah, I love that.
All right. So, I mean, a Marvel-based MMO would totally be for you. Like, you would try that.
Yeah, I definitely would try it.
That's cool.
Something though that I would be skeptical about is how much of it is going to be focusing on like, the main Marvel characters like Captain America and so on and so forth. I would like them to, well, if they could, to dive into the more sub-factions of like the main heroes and so forth.
Oh, well, you know what? Hopefully Daybreak's Marvel MMO will do that. Like, hopefully Daybreak will develop something, examining those backstories, getting deep into those. Oh, wait, that shit's canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw my face changing when you were saying that, but I'm like, wait, you just said all of that and then you associated it with Daybreak?
Yeah. So, there's a weird little text glitch in the article that I need to get out of there. So let me just pull that up. Yeah, so we knew Daybreak when Enad Global 7 bought Daybreak. It was revealed that they were working on a Marvel MMO, and then confirmed they were continuing that. Where is that? Oh, there it is. We don't need that. They were continuing with that, and now it's gone, Wilfredo.
Is anyone surprised? I mean, Daybreak has a very, very sketchy track record at this point. It does not surprise me that even if it was that they canceled it, if, Marvel and Disney were just like, we're going to go a different route, no matter what, it was inevitable. And I only say that because I look at City of Heroes, City of Villains, I look at Champions Online. Those games struggle after a while. There's only so much you can do in the superhero space. DC Online is one of the games that's still kind of there, but kind of not. And the only reason why it's still there, but kind of not, is because it's like, hey, I get to play this archetype of a character. Great, cool. What happens when you get to endgame? If you're not on the sub, you're not doing nothing. So, this is in kind of line of what you expect when it comes to something like a massive property like Marvel, and the street corner guy who's like, "Yeah, man, you want me to get you an MMO? Gotcha. Hold on, let me go grab my cat. We gonna."
The thing is, you say that, and nobody's gonna argue that DCUO is not, it's not going gangbusters, but. Right. In previous financials, we have seen DCUO is still extremely it's profitable for Daybreak and now Enid Global. So, whether you argue that it's because the people playing it are invested and it's almost a forced spend or not, that's a different thing, and maybe an episode of Is It Worth Playing in the future. But,
We'll get to that later.
We'll get to that later. But it is still profitable. And this would have given Daybreak and Enad Global both a DC MMO and a Marvel MMO. And the last, decent Marvel MMO-ish game we had was Marvel Heroes, right? And that was by Gazillion. And then when Disney bought all the licensing and stuff, they didn't want any part of that with Gazillion, and just shut down real quick. And yeah, it wasn't an MMORPG, but it was heavily multiplayer, and it had its fan base, a rather large one. But we still don't have one. And now this one's gone. They're going to shift, they say, Anthony, they're going to shift the money back into the existing Daybreak library, which means EverQuest 2, Lord of the Rings Online, DC Universe Online, PlanetSide 2, that's the library that this millions of dollars is going to get shifted back into. I don't know. I think this is pretty bleak for the future of Daybreak. I think this is pretty bleak.
Yeah, I think they're kind of going to this phase where I feel like a lot of companies that have these kind of really long IPs, they just want to stick to what they know is kind of making money. We were just saying that how DC was making a lot of money, or it's profitable. But in this time frame of where Marvel is killing it when it comes to films and so on and so forth, it seems like a loss to not go for it. And I don't believe that all that money is going to go back the right way into all these different IPs to kind of make them better.
They've spent an estimated $51 million on this already, and now you have zero to show for that. And I'm sure Marvel/Disney is just like, okay. Yeah, okay. We just picked up a free X million dollars for a licensing agreement that never went anywhere. Cool. I don't know. It's sad. It's sad because I do want to see, literally think about superhero fans, when it comes to MMOs, Wilfredo, you got DCUO, and then what? Champions Online, I guess, is still technically around. But that's it. And I mean, I guess you could pin your hopes on some of the community-based City of projects, and if they ever come to fruition in a meaningful way. But man, it just feels like a space that is just dying to be filled, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Because mind you, I jump into a lot of different MMOs because I'm always looking for something to kind of like fill that void that I'm missing. That's the one thing that I'm missing. I've got my sci-fi, I've got my high fantasy, I've got my brutal kind of like medieval MMOs. But where's my superhero MMO that makes me go, this is what I want. I want this. I want the crazy goofiness of Deadpool with the seriousness of Wolverine. Like, I want these things in a game. And Daybreak just said, nah, we're good.
Well, no, it was Enad Global. Daybreak was probably like, yeah, we like having jobs. Could we continue to do this? And Enad Global was like, no.
Nah. Well, that's a sign. That should be a sign when someone else is pulling their stuff away from you. That's a sign. Okay. Maybe there's some work you need to do because Daybreak, mind you, I just recently jumped back into EverQuest 2 just for giggles. Ooh, that's tough. That's hard.
Enad Global, by the way, on the other side, sorry to interrupt there, but just want to get this out there. Not only have they been picking up game companies lately, apparently they've also been scooping up video game collections as well, like physical collections to do a preservation thing. And I'm all about video game preservation, so I'm interested to see what their plans are for it.
Yeah, no, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I feel bad for the Marvel IP right now not having a big name MMO. It needs to come out.
Anthony, if you had a Marvel MMO, let me ask you this. Do you want to be an established superhero, or do you want to like DCUO it or City of Heroes, City of Villains it and create your own superhero? Like as a fan, which do you want to do?
I would like to create my own hero, and I would like to kind of steal a little bit from Secret World and have it to where there are factions and they have their own like stories, and it kind of connects with like other factions and so on and so forth. But kind of going with that kind of record of like you start from a zero and you go to a hero.
All right.
So I think something like that would be really nice.
So you want to be Peter Parker the day he's actually bit by the spider.
Yes, exactly that. I think that's so fun because I feel like when you're starting out and you're kind of established already, I feel like that's a very easy route to go. If you're making something in the Marvel universe, like there's so much you can do in that universe. So many stories you can follow, or so many locations or planets. And I feel like it would be so easy. Well, not so easy, but I think it would be so interesting for it to be where you can make your character and you kind of grow into this role, if that's, a superhero or someone that's kind of a little bit, outside the law and doing whatever.
Do you want to be an established hero or create from scratch, Wilfredo?
Oh, from scratch, without a doubt. I want to be able to be like, okay, kind of like how in DCUO, they have this great idea of like you have a mentor.
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome. And you can choose a mentor from different groups, whether it be the Illuminati, Fantastic Four, so on and so forth. You get to pick like these things as you go along, which kind of branches out your skill tree even more. And you can get, if you do it right, one of those Path of Exile level skill trees. Oh, yes. Sign me up right now.
Well, apparently we're going to have to wait and see who picks up the license next. Somebody's going to do it at some point.
Somebody's going to pick it up.
Somebody's going to pick it up for an MMO. Hey, things are going really well, gang, at the Battlefield 2042 clubhouse. Oh, no, they aren't. They're not going well there either. So they removed the 128-player breakthrough mode. So now you've only got the 64. They said it was for performance reasons. I read that as player-based reasons. On top of that, though, they're now also no longer developing for Hazard Zone. So they're not taking that one out like they did the 128-player breakthrough mode. Hazard will still be there, but they're not developing anymore for it. It doesn't draw enough players to keep the mode around. They're going to shift resources elsewhere. The path has been rocky, to say the least, for 2042, Wilfredo.
Are you serious? Go back to Battlefield 1. That's where a lot of it started. Like, I've always had an issue with EA. Always had an issue. This is one of those things where it's like, you put in all this money for the hype train, for advertising, for trying to get this game built, and it turns out to be a broken mess on launch. We expect that. It's been months. It's still broken, and now you're taking stuff away because of performance issues. There are plenty of people out there who wouldn't say, you know what, I'm going to chop off a bit of the tip just because of performance issues. You know what I mean? So this is ridiculous. I get it. You know, there wasn't enough players who probably played the 128 Battle Royale or what have you. That's fine. Understood. It's hard to get 128 people to play a game at once. I get that. But you're cutting back on a game mode and now you're not developing new content? Bad sign.
Anthony, let me just put it this way for you. Battlefield 2042 right now, 2,400 players on Steam. Battlefield 5, over 6,000. Battlefield 1, almost 4,500.
Oh, that is...
Again, Steam
That
charts
is very
obviously
backward.
not representative of the entire player base, but
I mean, even if it isn't, that is saying a lot. It is saying a lot, and this game has been kind of just rolling over in the mud, like just going back and forth between decisions, and I'm just really trying to figure out what it is that they're trying to do with it. And these updates and these changes, they're not really, they don't really show any indication of like this game lasting for a long time. If anything, more content is being cut than content put in. And that's very strange to me for a multiplayer shooter game.
I honestly think they need to just pull the plug like Call of Duty did and say, you know what, no Call of Duty this year. We're going to take a year, right? Like they definitely need to do that.
Yeah, they definitely need to do that because they are not really holding up what the player base really wants. And, you know, with EA being over DICE, I feel like part of that is on EA, but I feel like DICE also, they should make it to where they're respecting the core player base's like wants and needs with Battlefield, because like we were just saying, Battlefield 1 is like crushing this game entirely, and that is so backwards.
Yeah, Lord Locke in chat saying, you know, and this may be why, right? They fixed up and made Battlefield 5 really good. I don't know if they can do the same with 2042, sadly. Plus, I'm not sure EA will let them at this point. Well, EA was, we talked about that, rumored to have almost closed a deal to have NBC Universal buy them. So, you know, I would imagine they're probably still looking to maybe be acquired. But yeah, I mean, there's that danger of when you do release something in a bad state and you manage to recover it, Wilfredo, there is that kind of swagger that maybe sits in the back of your head that is like, hey, if we screw it up, don't worry, we can fix it. We've already done it before, and we're seeing that, no, you can't. No, you can't.
Why fix something?
Why fix it?
Yeah, just remove modes. Speaking of how the hell do we fix this, Babylon's Fall is extending its season 2. And maybe on the surface, that isn't, you know, any real big deal for you. They're extending season 2 by 3 months. So now season 2 is going to run all the way through just about the end of November. Why? They want to reevaluate the roadmap. We want to reevaluate the game's future operating roadmap.
Shaking my head. But you know, hey, to be fair, they need to, because it's a mess right now.
I read this as we need to reevaluate the roadmap because Square Enix might not be paying us anymore for this.
That's fair.
I have a question. How can you reevaluate a roadmap if there was never a roadmap to begin with?
Yep. I mean, that game's in a rough state. Obviously, there was a lot of fun last month when the Steam charts were showing like double digits, and at one point concurrently they did go down to one player, and some other outlets had fun interviewing that legit one player and things like that. I didn't.
That's so bad.
Right? Like, we covered, the game's like news stuff. I was like, I don't want to kick a game while it's down because it had one player with that type of headline. So we did not cover that, but yeah, it was out there. The roadmap's more like a napkin found in the trash can. You can't have a roadmap without a road, says Tori. In the last news of the stupid, this one coming from Blizzard, and no, not stupid in the way you think, just because it's Blizzard, and the news about Blizzard is usually stupid lately. This is actually game-related. Drekthar, a diamond card, one of those $25 chumpies. They don't do anything different than the other version. It's a diamond-style cosmetic thing. So you could buy that for $25 a while ago, and that was fine. But the problem is that now Blizzard nerfed the crap out of that card, to the point that even without a lot of prompting, they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and send anybody that bought this 3,000 gold in game." Because if you bought this because you were going to use it, and now we're nerfing it into oblivion, and it's maybe not going to be used, you might not have wanted to buy it. So here's 3,000 gold. So I guess from that front, Wilfredo, they did the right thing, right? Like, that's enough gold to buy the next diamond card if you want to. But they're not taking the old card away from you either. So you kind of got this nerfed diamond card for free. So I guess it works out in the end for Hearthstone players. But damn, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, ask any, Magic the Gathering fan when they nerf a card. It's like, oh, I spent all this money just to find out it's worthless now, and it's not even tournament legal? Great. All right, cool. Thanks.
Good old Hearthstone. Either of you Hearthstone players? Or CCG players at all? Like, we've never talked about that with you two.
Yeah, no, I dabbled with it when, a couple years back, and it was good for a moment, but then I got bored with it, and it's like, I'm really not into CCGs, and I haven't really gone back to it since. But I do admit it can be very addicting once you start to kind of like get the understanding of it. It can be really addicting. Really
are you, Anthony?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I played it, I think, about 2 years ago, and I enjoyed it for what it was. It was a good kind of time sinker, and it is very addicting. It is very fun, but I am someone who I like a more kind of speedy kind of card game. So I'm very interested in another game.
Marvel Snap, aren't you? You're interested in Marvel Snap.
Yes, not to segue away from this too much, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they did show off gameplay. We talked about that a show or two ago. So yeah, keep it locked here for Marvel Snap news as that comes. Well, that concludes news of the stupid. Let's talk about some stuff that you might actually be interested in. We've got another trailer. We covered this a while ago when we had a little bit of information, but now we have another new PalWorld trailer out, and still amazed that they haven't been sued into oblivion by the Pokemon company at all, because some of these, like, you look at them, gang, and you're just like, okay, I know who that's supposed to be. Like, I mean, I guess maybe they're the best type of distinct, legally distinct. Like, maybe that's what we're going for here. But your Pokemon gun game gets a new trailer. Wilfredo, are you excited?
Nah, not really.
No, I thought you'd be all over this Pocket Pair games.
I normally I would be, but the thing is, I have this strange issue when it comes to like catch 'em all games. There's a point where I'm like super into it early on, like it just hooks me in, and then after a while I'm like, I really don't feel like collecting all these things that I'm not going to use. After a while, like my rational brain kicks in. It's like, you have 46 of these things and you use 5. What are you using the other? Just stop. So then it kind of kills the idea of the game, at least for me. But I will admit, it does give me like a mix of like Monster Hunter and Dauntless feels. So I'm like, okay, that could be cool. Just, going out to collect whatever. But it becomes tropey. It looks good, but it does become tropey.
3rd anniversary for Dauntless, by the way. 30 million slayers. And they put in a new behemoth that can change affinities. That's just not fair. That's just not fair.
I know, but it's so good to hear about it.
That's just not fair. That's not fair, Phoenix Labs. Not fair at all. What do you think, Anthony? Are you going to be collecting your enemies and forcing them to do your violent bidding in PalWorld in the future here?
Oh yes, and I'm gonna shoot them too.
Said, oh yes,
I want to try it out. I'm so curious.
I didn't even finish the question. He was like, "Yes, oh yes."
Yes,
it's such a experimental kind of flip that I think it's gonna be actually something fun to do, and I like that these studios that are not that well known are kind of like going with this, and it's their way to kind of be known in a sense. But I mean, besides that, I mean, I think it looks. I think it looks fine. I think I can see some interesting combat going on there, especially with the kind of the boss encounters, and I mean, and the monsters, they look cute. So I can submit them into my my entourage to build things for me.
I can bend them to my will.
Yeah, and I mean the locations look nice too. So
that's true.
It does look nice. Yeah,
I have to admit, it does look like it's what happens when Pokemon grows up.
Yes, when they become jaded.
Yes.
I'm sick of this whole nonsense.
This is what happens if somebody like Jason Winter makes Pokemon. They're just like the angriest SOBs that are roaming the planet. Well, Anthony, what we'll do is we'll have you do the first look for this one when it comes time. We'll let you
do
the
fun.
first look when it comes time. We still don't know any like release dates or anything like that, or price models or anything. So we'll keep you posted. But if you want to collect something right now and you haven't already, TemTem is going to have an official launch in September. And, I guess shame on me. I thought the damn thing already had. I own it on Steam, but it's apparently still in early access, even though we've been playing it for 2 years. So it is going to get an official launch in September, and it's also going to get a console release on the Xbox Series S and X and the Nintendo Switch. Obviously, you can already get it on PC and PlayStation 5. So, an official release. Have either of you dabbled in the TemTems?
Negative.
No, not yet. But I mean, I've seen video, and I've wanted to jump into it. Because I'm not a super big Pokemon fan, but like I'm always interested because I see it as like, it's something fun to do. And they always have a good way of like blending travel and how the monsters kind of help you with that. And TemTem is one of those IPs that I've heard about and I've heard, good things about. So I'm very interested to try it out.
I'm kind of with you, Anthony. I'm not generally like the last Pokemon game that I played all the way through. I'm gonna date myself here. Was Pokemon Red on my Game Boy Color. My Game Boy Color.
Hey, my last one was Platinum, so that was like DS. DS.
So I'm not like huge into them. I do like the collection aspect of things. That's why when we're talking about Riders of Icarus, I did kind of like that more than you seem to, Wilfredo, because I thought it was neat, and I'm all about collecting the shinies and stuff like that. For God's sakes, just look at my Rift profiles, and all the shinies in there. And so I did get TemTem a while ago. I've streamed it a couple of times. It is addictive. It is definitely addictive. If you are even remotely interested, it's probably worth it for you. Just watching a trailer or watching somebody stream it, you're going to get enough of whether it's for you or not. It's not something you're going to need to like do a bunch of research on. So watch a stream, and I say it's worth checking out. Before we head on over to do the weekly bombs, Wilfredo, you put up your... So I was like very careful the way I worded this in the description, and on Twitter and everything, because it's not really like the first ever content thing you've created. But it is kind of your first deep dive into a uniform video production from top to bottom about a very specific topic. Like, obviously you stream and you do stuff like that, but this was kind of your first front to back scripting, footage gathering, like doing all of it. And we talked about it a few weeks ago. You and I have been talking about it for months, but publicly we talked about it a few episodes ago, that we were going to experiment with a video series for you that was basically one of those, is it worth playing? You know, except our angle is a little more, should you return, right? If you played this game 10 years ago, is it worth coming back to right now? To kind of separate it from just doing an updated first look, right? An updated first look, I can jump into a game that's 10 years old and show you the first 2 hours what you can expect. This is more of a deep, comprehensive dive of systems, late game, early game, and all kinds of things. We started it off. We've posted the video yesterday. Check it out on YouTube. Give it a like. Go give it a comment. And you did Star Trek Online. Now, obviously, you had a little bit of an advantage here because you are an STO player, so you had ready access to higher-level characters. This isn't going to be a weekly thing because other games, you won't have that. You'll have to earn your way up the ladder a little bit to be able to do the video. But talk a little bit about your goal with the videos, with the show, and this first episode here.
Oh, first off, thanks for even letting me have this opportunity to do it. So basically, it's just a look back, right? And not just for older games, newer games too that probably just aren't getting enough push or getting enough respect on their name, and maybe there's a reason to that. And it's just to get a good understanding on what makes this game worth playing in a modern day. And that's kind of tough for some of these games out here. Like I look at Terra Online, which is being shut down.
Yeah.
What is it about a game like that makes it to the point where it's like, okay, we're going to have to pull the plug on it? You know, I look at Star Trek Online, and if you go check out the video, you'll get a pretty good understanding why I still play it. But it's not without its flaws. And there are a lot of games with a lot of flaws. So the question becomes, what's the value in it for you, the viewer? Is it something that you should go check out? Is it something that you've never played before and you're just like, I don't have a reason to? Now there might be. Maybe it's a game you've played 1,000 times over and you're like, there's a reason why I'm not going back. So it's just to open up a dialogue about games from yesteryear to current and really get an understanding on what it is that makes these games worth your time.
Jason Winters said should call it Wilfredo Plays Old Shit, should you?
I mean, that's a great title for it. That'll definitely catch some eyes.
Yeah, Old Glory, it's not hard to grind the levels. That's not the issue. Like, you could bang out in most MMOs these days a max level character in an MMO over the course of a week. That's not, it's getting into like the end game content and getting examination of like raid systems or battle systems or whatever with friends or pugging or whatever. So there is additional stuff that we do besides leveling. You're right. That's the easy part. Wilfredo and Anthony, I'm sure you'll figure this out when we get there and you do your first look or anything. I'm pretty sure Wilfredo was swearing up and down because, to be fair, he sent me the initial video of this about a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And I sent it back.
Yeah.
That's not to say that the initial video wasn't good. The content was there.
The quality was bad.
The quality was bad. Yeah. So there were just things, you know, I get a little nitpicky sometimes, and I understand that, but these were like not nitpicky issues. There were audio mixing issues and things like that. So send it back. Here's what we need to do. Then he got his new equipment, and we were working through that. Then he went ahead and did this re-recording. Then I send him the intro and outro to put on there and all this fun stuff. So this has been like 2 months in the physical making, about 6 months conceptually, because we've been talking about it for a while. But I just imagine, like, I'm like, how do I say nicely your audio sucks?
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a really good person when it comes to feedback. If you just want to say, the audio on this is garbage, just say it. And I'm like, understood. I got to work on it.
So the day he got his new mixer and mic a couple weeks ago or whatever it was, we tested. He was like, "Hey, do you got a minute? Can I call you on Discord and we'll just, help me set this up and make sure it sounds good?" And it sounded great and everything. Once we finished, I said, "Hey, now go back." I sent him a recording of our phone call. I recorded the phone call or the Discord call, and I sent him that recording. And I was like, "Listen to this. Take your headsets off. Listen to this through your speakers. And now go and watch the first Star Trek video you sent me through your speakers." About 15 minutes later, I get a message. "Oh God, yeah, that's a lot better."
Yeah. Massive difference.
I mean, besides like the audio thing that you guys are talking about, I mean, it was really, really nice video because I have never played the game myself. I've only known about it. And you kind of wrapped it up really nice, Wilfredo. And I appreciate it. And the ship battle stuff was actually really, really cool to look at too. And I mean, I might just try it out myself someday.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah, the audio on the video that's up is great. It sounds great. I'm talking about the first version of the video that you guys will never see that started a month and a half ago. That's the one we're talking about. Was not good. Yeah, Wilfredo, you did a great job, man. I was very interested by the entire thing, watching it through. Loved the humor that you had interjected there. What I was really concerned about, because I knew you were doing STO as the first episode, and you're already prepping the second episode. I won't spill that right now on what game it is. But if you have games you want to recommend, go ahead and throw them in the comments on Wilfredo's video over on MMO Bomb or on YouTube if you have games that you think he should check out. He's already under construction for the next episode, but we will take recommendations for ones past that. I'm going to say I was a little worried. I was a little worried that the video was going to skew a bias in favor of STO because I know you are an STO fan. So when you said you wanted to do that game first, I was like, I almost would rather have you start with something you're pretty neutral about or that you just don't remember a lot about. But go ahead, do STO, send me the concept video, and we'll see. And when you sent the final version, and I sat and watched it yesterday before I put it up, I got to say, you took the same approach that I typically do, and congratulations, I love it. It's obvious that you are a fan of the game, but that didn't stop you from along the line saying, yeah, this is dated, dude. The graphics are dated. The tab targeting is dated. The cash shop's a mess. Like you were brutally honest about some of the flaws of the game, even in a game that I know you personally love. So that was really, really good to see that you're willing to step back and say, look, I might not even realize why I love this game because looking at it objectively, it's kind of crap. But obviously, it was not. STO isn't what in the crap category. But I was like, it was very nice to see that kind of unbiased approach. So I think viewers will definitely appreciate that too.
I appreciate that, and I that's my objective, is to go in objectively, because sure, anybody can have rose-colored glasses going into something like this, but just looking at it as it is in its current state. And that's going to be hard for some of the other videos I have on my list, because I do have a personal bias towards or against some, and it's like some that I have a real issue with. Really got to step back.
Chat is saying other lands. There is one player. There is one player in it right now. We should totally Babylon's Fall article this game. Steam Charts has one player in Otherland Next right now, and that's also its 24-hour peak.
Wow, that's rough. That's rough.
Wow.
I'd say let's write it up, but the only person that's going to read it is the one playing it. That's the only person that would click on an Otherland article. Star Wars: The Old Republic has already come up multiple times in the comments as one that people want you to do.
On the YouTube video, he was one of the first people to drop that. Yep. And that is definitely on my list of games.
So go check it out. Wilfredo, great job. Let's slide over and do the weekly bombs. Wilfredo, what do you got?
So I was kind of like back and forth, but I decided I'm going to go positive, and I'm going to give a bomb to to MMO Bomb because you guys gave me this opportunity to put out a video and be a part of the crew a little bit, and I appreciate that. And to all the bombers out there who watched the video, thanks. Thanks for all the feedback. I genuinely appreciate it. And yeah, let's keep this ball rolling.
Absolutely. I mean, you've earned everything you've done here. You've earned everything you've done here. Anthony, you're up.
Okay. I'm going to go a little bit general and just say A-bomb to all of the stupid stuff today, especially, well, not the stupid stuff today, but throughout the week, the stupid news.
Yeah.
especially to the writers of Icarus. I do not like studios that change up the business model before there's any like new content and there's like a gap and like it just shows priority to me, and I just do not like that. I think it's sick.
I'm going to give a dub on myself to the Raven Software QA teams and everything they have done and worked and pushed for getting their union vote passed. I know it's only a small step, but it is an important one, and it's going to be interesting over the next couple of years to see how, every avalanche starts with a little snowball, right? Let's see how this goes over the next couple of years, and does this roll into something bigger and better for the gaming industry as a whole? We will have to watch it, but definitely a dub bomb to the Raven Software team passing their union vote. From the viewers, Axios says, Mike at the beginning, talking about last week's show, just needed to be in purple and gold armor and say, where did that bring you? Back to me. When the Winter Soldier came back in, talking about Jason Winter coming onto the show. Oh, Takal in chat. Chat, go ahead and get yours in there. Says A-bomb to SE. I'm assuming Square Enix. I don't even like Final Fantasy 11, but you could do better than that. Yeah, their AMA on Reddit was like the longest way to say nothing, in my opinion. We talked a lot about that on the Relic Grind over on Ready Check Radio yesterday. You can check that out. Old Glory saying, A-bomb to me. Forgot the question of the week. Shame on me. Shame on me. Go ahead and take the next one there, Wilfredo. It's a long one.
Yeah. So, Fox says, giving a sort of fix to Raggerty's dub bomb about the Smite and Slipknot crossover event. By the way, sick. I heavily agree that the way that they did it felt kind of scummy, but they treated it much less scummy than I expected. So, normally, when Hi-Rez in general does chest their skins, so say Smite in this case, they'll load up the chest with a handful of exclusives, but then have other random skins in it that have nothing to do with the theme. Thankfully, with the Slipknot event, you only get Slipknot drops, from which it makes the whole process that much more puzzling. I told myself I'd go all in, so I spent around $55 worth of gems to get everything in a chest, and honestly, for me, personally, it's been worth it because I'm a longtime fan of theirs, but I still dislike how Hi-Rez does monetization in their games. Really wish they would have just done an all-in one bundle, which actually I agree. They should have done it all in one. Instead of separating their cosmetics with a pointless loot box system. Totally agree. An all-in-one bundle, I would have been down for, especially because it's the 9.
Keep going. They give their own bomb, too.
Oh, yeah, they do. Weekly bomb, giving a dub bomb to private servers in general for different games. Whether it's for current popular MMOs or older dead ones, I'm thankful for private servers, not only for keeping older games alive through their dedicated fan communities, or in some other games, reworking and changing how the game plays completely, just adds more fun and variety to the games, even after having played some of them for hundreds, if not thousands of hours. You know what? Okay, to go on to this for Box, I still want to get into a Star Wars Galaxies.
Galaxies?
Yeah, Star Wars Galaxies was dope.
Yeah, there's a good one. There's a good one for you. Good emulation server there. Tori the Chicken in chat saying, A-bomb to university. Well, you should be, Are you going over the summer? I mean, you should be just about done with your term, right? Question of the week last week, should all games just be released on all platforms, or do you prefer that some platforms have exclusives? FXON says, question of the week, if I don't have the console, Well, F that game. Pretty straight to the point. Go ahead, Anthony.
That's fair. That's fair. Rich Jabber says exclusives are dumb and hold back the industry. Won't you make more money if more people can buy the product? Also, if your console's only selling point is that one title you hold, you hold one title hostage. I'll wait. In the end, almost everything ends up on PC, which is fair. And I do believe that you shouldn't hold certain titles hostage. For example, Returnal. I don't have a PS5 because of the pandemic, and it's still on a PlayStation. And
rumor is it's coming to PC.
Rumor.
Yeah, rumor from this week is that it's coming to PC. Sony is actually, we reported on it, Anthony wrote it up. Sony's, remember we reported a while ago that they were working on like 12 live service games over the course of the next 10 years. 2 of them are slated to come out this year. So we don't know what they are. They just said, hey, they're not related to Destiny. So, not an expansion or something like that. And they're forecasting they're going to go ahead and make $300 million on the PC front in software. So that means a lot of things are coming. A lot of things are coming to PC. Returnal rumored to be one of them.
That's good.
That's bold.
Go ahead, Wilfredo.
Sure. Box question of the week. I really don't have any more preference for exclusives or not because I get why they're still done. For some games, it makes sense because first-party IPs and all, but at the end of the day, it's up to the game developers and console makers whether a game goes multi-plat or single one only. On the other hand, I'm really tired of having to be removed off of Steam, games having to be removed off of Steam in order for them to have crossplay enabled, which is a load of bull malarkey. I love that. But that's neither here nor there for me to say. I'll simply just do as I always do when Epic Games gets involved in these deals. Take one of my white gloves off and slap Tim Sweeney with it and move on.
Challenging him to a duel. Asik says, question of the week. I no longer mind exclusives. Back in the day, in early 2000 up to mid-2010s, when I was just a PC gamer, it was a bit of a problem. But these days, only exclusives I even care about are all Nintendo ones, in particular Xenoblade, Fire Emblem, and Pokemon series, and I have a Switch now. Last time I cared about exclusives from other teams, it was Persona 5, which sold me a PlayStation 4, and then was never used again until Persona 5 Royale, and now it's been collecting dust since then perfectly. Collecting dust since then perfectly. I love the perfectly at the end of that.
Layer of dust.
It's an absolutely pristine layer of human dead skin cells just right across the top of that bad boy. It's fantastic. Question of the week this week. We talked a little bit about what we'd like to see, but what would you like to see in a new superhero-based MMORPG these days? What would it even look like? Should you be 700 Batmans and Supermans running around? Should you be creating your own? What would some of the systems look like? We have DCUO. We have Champions Online. They're dated. What would one today look like if you were the creator? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget your weekly bombs while you're there. Dub bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad in the world of gaming or just life in general. And if you have a question for the panel, go ahead and throw that down there too. Until next week, Anthony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitter at AntJonesWriter.
That's easy enough. Wilfredo.
Easy enough.
Come find me over at Twitter at DamianXMarius, and bug me. I want to know what other video games I should definitely put into this series.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally right there at magicman1, but more importantly, follow at MMOBomb so we can tweet at you every time we go live with our podcast, our streams, put news articles, giveaways, interviews, and videos up. Until next week, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.